I guess I just want to say like a small word about Pippin, my mom's dog. Just before we started to record, my mom called me and told me that Pippin passed away.
I'm so sorry.
It's so sad when we lose one of our loved ones. But she had a really good life, and she was always really happy, and she was like a hound dog, so she was always yelling at my mom. Like
she always barking like a hound dog. Is it barking? I got me barking like a hound dog. Crying? I don't know. Are you crying like a hound dog?
I ain't nothing but a hound dog.
You just are one. Pippin was one.
Crying all the time. That's right. She was crying all the time. But now she's crying in heaven. I found her like a decade ago in the woods when I was hanging with my Aunt Carol. And she was covered in ticks and fleas. And she was like a little puppy, just like a hunting dog that was discarded. And so my mom took care of her for a decade. And now she's gone to the great beyond.
She's right here.
Aww, Pippin. And she was named for Peregrine Took from the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
But, that aside, she was a great sister to me, and I loved her, and I still do, in her absence. But I want to talk about this sister to me, who's right here with me on the couch. I've had my legs amputated from below the knee, and I just wanted to see what that would be like.
And so far, what's it like having your legs amputated?
I'm starting to not feel my feet.
I'm kind of want to sit on my knees too. I don't know. It's fine.
It makes me feel like a geisha or like a patient little kindergartner or something. Like I'm waiting, you know?
Other than your beloved Pippin passing just now.
Literally just now.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. I've been doing my basketball, and I've been alternating basketball with skateboarding every
how's
other
your
day.
Skateboarding endeavor going?
Skating has been fun. When people see me from the road, they're just like, what is that grown-ass woman doing dressed like Tony Hawk? But it's so fun, and I haven't wiped out. I've been able to catch myself every time I start to fall.
You're like, I'm watering my dick seed.
I am
Get away from me.
Let me grow. Let me grow.
Don't grow so big that your dick hits the proverbial bike on the ceiling.
I got those magic beans that make you grow real tall.
Oh, well, I'm glad you haven't wiped out yet.
Tell me all your thoughts. Oh, where are you coming from?
This is
Whitney Does, by the way. Can I introduce you? Should we introduce?
Whitney
Does.
I've got ghost updates. I've got existential crisis updates.
Oh.
Ghost updates. I had to go to MotoGP instead of going to a haunted farm mediumship lesson, which was very hard to decide which one to go to.
But also, if I can interject for just a moment, that sentence has never been spoken before.
Yeah, you're right.
That is a unique scenario.
I didn't know if I wanted to go see Marc Marquez again or if I wanted to go test my abilities at a haunted farm, and they were happening at the exact same time, 1 p.m. Sunday.
There might be something to that.
Well, you said something that really made me feel better because I was about to cancel MotoGP because fuck the money, tickets, whatever, but I was going to bring my brother for the first time. He had never been, and I don't get to see him very often, so there was that sentimental value. Mm-hmm. But I forget exactly what you said, but you made me feel better.
Imagine.
I'm also going to write a sigil to just fucking retain information because as I speak right now, it's just like seeping out of my ears.
I think I remember if you want me to speak to it. Because we were talking about, what parts of you are involved in the motorcycle side, the career side, that type of forward-looking kind of stuff. And then we're talking about what parts of you are involved in the spirit mediumship, like who you're getting in contact with, what part of you, is involved in that. And I sort of just phrased it as like looking forward or looking backward. Because I feel like when we spend time with our our better angels, our guardians, the people who have gone to the great beyond. We're looking back, we're reliving our experience with them and remembering everything we can to bring them back to life, sort of, in this instant, in the present. But I think that the MotoGP, that's like looking forward. That's like creating opportunities. That's growing yourself. Not that the spirit mediumship isn't growing or building towards something. That is just how I saw that fork in the road.
Yeah. And that, I had the sudden realization when you said that. It's like, it doesn't matter where I go because that's where I am. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to MotoGP because why not?
And wherever you find yourself, just be there.
I'm just there.
Just be right there. So hard.
The field trip stuff, I'm sure will come and go. MotoGP is once a year, and it was still a lot of fun. I highly recommend sitting at turn 12.
Turn 12?
Turn 12. It's the one right after the long straight, and you're like, you're right there. And
comes right after 11?
Sitting there. It comes right after 11.
Hell
it's
yeah.
right before the 13th corner.
Right where you'd expect it to be.
So that happened. Not yesterday, but the day before. I was walking down the hallway, daytime, and I pass a room, and I like move my, like when a bird flies in your face, and you're like, what the fuck? It was kind of like that, but it was like a white lightsaber-y thing, and I was just totally
like an ectoplasmic interjection.
What the fuck it was, but it spooked me. And I don't know what to do at that point. I'm like, okay.
What was that and why?
Whatever. I'm still not to any point of like intermediateness of anything. I just am still experiencing.
You just gotta be open.
Periphery stuff. And then last night, Lucas goes, holy shit. I'm like, what? He's like, I thought you just walked by. But it wasn't, there was like a lightsaber in the mirror.
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't tell him about my experience. And I was like, shit, something's in the house. I thought we got rid of the lady that he brought home from the ER who died. I don't know. So that's that. I might email Sarah about that. Or no,
or maybe you should just watch the movie Poltergeist.
No.
Because they built that shit on an Indian burial ground.
I like your socks.
Thanks. I think I have to retire them soon. I don't know if I can show this while still covering my bits, but it's burger and fry socks.
Your toe is too big. Your big toe is just too big.
Well, I guess I could get that amputated too. Ew, Bob Odenkirk does that in an episode of Bedtime Stories, Tim and Eric Bedtime Stories. It's like scary, spooky, cringy stuff. And Bob Odenkirk is like a doctor who removes people's toes for them.
Ew.
It is so hard to watch.
Ew.
But yes, comedy. Speaking of which, I just bought a ticket to Tim Heidecker Live on August 4th in Austin, Texas at the Paramount.
God, you're making me remember that Duncan Trussell's coming this weekend, and I fucking didn't buy. I totally forgot to buy tickets.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Am I covered? Keep it tight.
What else? Hold on. What was my other? I had a ghost bit, and I had a different bit.
You were talking about existential crisis.
Yeah.
So you dive in.
Yeah. Let's get this part out of the way. Well, there's 2 existential crises.
Okay.
One, I have 2 motorcycle jobs, and I'm like feeling really weird. I feel like I've got a toe dipped in the meniscus of different realities, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not mine. It's just weird. I'm at this point where I feel like my time is really precious, and I don't want to fucking waste it.
Absolutely not.
I worked revival, and that was fun, but Ruby was just screaming all day, and I'm like, man, I don't know if this is where I want to be. So I had that.
How does it feel when you're doing it? I know you can't not think about Ruby, but how do you feel when you're actually doing those jobs?
You know what I feel? I feel 23, 24-year-old Whitney like shitting her pants.
Ah, that's interesting. Is that a person that you want to give what she wants? You want to do what 23-year-old Whitney wants?
Excellent question. There's a part of existential therapy called the ship has sailedism.
Huh.
Where there's like a really deep longing for what has already come and gone.
And you can't get it back.
Right.
But we try.
Yeah, and I read that and I kind of feel like those people suffering that, including myself, are just kind of tapping into the current of grief that I think a lot of people feel, or loss to some degree. So I don't know. I just feel really weird. It's weird when your hobby becomes your job.
Definitely.
And I don't know what that means for me. So I'm marinating in that right now. And then last night, Lucas mentioned Ruby being 18, and I fucking sobbed into a white light of oblivion.
Oblivion. She got lost in oblivion. Yeah, because when we're little, time feels like slow, cold molasses.
Did you ever feel trapped growing up?
Definitely.
So did I, all the time.
Oh my God. I always felt trapped. And I always felt just like what I wanted was just out of my reach. And that it was such a tragedy that it was so close, but I couldn't grasp it. And now, like, seeing how fast Ruby grows and, like, all the things that keep on coming to pass are happening, it's just like, what is time and what does it mean to us?
Ooh! I was listening to Damien Eccles on a different podcast, and the person interviewing him, Duncan Trussell, was asking him, have you encountered these beings that people often meet when they're practicing magic?
Oh, the scary ones? Or like the intimidating ones?
Not the angelic forces that are very scary and 18 feet tall and whatever, you often hear about it in DMT too. There's like an entity that people are encountering that has all of this fucking wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't seem like a person. It seems more of like this current of information or a download packet. And Damien was describing how we live on a Möbius strip. We live on like the infinity sign sideways.
Yeah, yeah.
And the entities that we are encountering are us, ourselves, giving us information to catapult evolution for humanity further, which makes the most sense. Because if the universe is anything, it's a fucking garlic knot.
Absolutely.
And we are all the garlicky bits inside of it, and we're all tied together in one, and we want our garlic knot to be
Spoiler
bigger.
alert.
There's no marinara.
Something similar. Spoiler alert, it's a dry ass experience. No, a similar thing comes up in the movie Interstellar, where you like interact with yourself, but a different self from a different time. And my thing about that kind of time travel and like touching our own timeline and like what the effects of that would be.
Diddling our own garlic knot.
Yeah, it's like if we were to diddle our own garlic knot, wouldn't we already know about it by now? Like,
but what if we don't know about it until we get to a certain point?
Yes.
Because I feel like
so the time when our future selves reflect back on the past has not we're not at that part in the timeline yet.
Right.
But also, I feel like this would presuppose that all moments coexist at the same time.
Sure.
Do with that what you will.
He brought up the movie Lucy or Lucille. Have you ever heard of that? It's got this woman is a drug mule for this new drug that they come out with that is made from the hormones that a woman secretes to grow brains in her womb.
Whoa.
So they inject her with that, but it kind of goes wrong.
She goes brains all over her body.
She's got tits for brains for tits.
Her ass has a brain.
And suddenly every man wants her.
An intelligent thinking tail.
So she's like seeping this crazy amount of consciousness. She's changing in ways that she can't describe or know what to do, but she goes back in time to like the Sasquatch evolution, the missing link part of evolution, and gives him or it the knowledge to evolve into humanity. So it's like had she not done that, then humanity never would have gotten to that point, and had humanity never injected her with those hence the Möbius strip aspect.
So it begs the question, how would we have evolved to become her, to make the thing that made her brains? And then
she did it.
She did the whole thing.
She did the whole thing. Yes. She catapulted.
I can get with that. I can get with circles. I can get with
spirals,
spheres, ovals, the continuous thing. I'm with it. Because when you think about space, like the blackness of space, and you think about like the expansion of space, it's not like linear.
No.
It's not like from one specific spot. It's from every spot. And it's like space itself is expanding, not the matter and energy within it. Like, it's all subject to the space, the container that it's filling. But it's like...
Well, that in space bends time.
Right. Well, time is a reflection of space and the matter impacting it.
I remember reading about, like, the shifts in time that happen like next to black holes because of it, and hence why you go to space, you'll be younger than people aging on Earth.
Right.
It's
like we can travel into the future just by traveling close to the speed of light. You can leap into the future, but we can't figure out how to go back.
Why go back?
Well, in that instance, if you're like going on a mission to space and you come back like 4 years later, but it's like 40 years later on Earth, and you don't get to spend time with your family. It'd be nice if you could, go do that and then sort of reset the clock and go back. But I guess when people decide to do those types of missions, they give it all up.
You know what's crazy to think about too is God, the essence of God, which I forgot. I recently learned what God was shorthand for.
What?
It's an acronym? Wrote it down. And God is beyond space and time. So it's beyond characteristics at all.
Right.
Because there's no space or time to have characteristics. But what was like the moment God decided to shatter into a billion fragments so that it could experience itself? The only thing I could think of is that, or what catalyzed change from nothingness and wholeness to free will, raptured, fractured? You're bored?
I think it just goes back to that principle of life, to always do that capillary action and move out into spaces it hasn't occupied yet in different ways, and see all the different ways that it can be, It's like it's got to try everything to see what the best way to be alive is.
I get a boner for the catalyst, because it's like, it was just humming along, existing or not existing, or doing both. And then it was like, bink, and what caused the bink of wanting to experience itself.
And that kind of goes back to the James Webb telescope and like seeing it as far into the past as we can out into the universe. What if you can see evidence of the bink?
What does the bink look like? The bink was like a magazine it found floating in the ether.
If it's the Möbius strip thing, then it could be one of us.
Oh! Did you know we're entering the phase of Aquarius? So we started at polytheism, then we went to monotheism, and then God, then man thinks it's God, but the next phase is God is man. So like shit's about to change.
Can you parse that out a little bit? Explain that to me. God thinks he's man. That's what we're growing out of, and now we're going into God is man?
Yes.
In what way?
So the the real horoscope shit, that information is really hard to find, and it's like a lot more, because all of these fucking archaeological sites all over the world are all centered around constellations and stars and equinoxes, and we're just like, oh, it's just a big mystery, but it's like, no, there's some shit that we just have lost, and it's diluted, and it was destroyed by whatever king who didn't want anyone to know anything that was important anymore. But then
Brain fart. I actually just had a brain fart too. Maybe something swept over us. There was like a garage fart here.
No, stop it. Talk about fruit snacks or whatever it is.
We were really getting down to the nitty gritty, and then we both farted our brains.
That was really weird. I was like on a roll, and then it was just suddenly it was fucking gone.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks for whatever that was. Thought we were hitting something cool, but I guess you didn't want us to talk about it.
They're like, not yet. Shh. Fuck. So just fast forward. Gotta get out of here.
What are we even talking about? I wish we could rewind and watch it so we can talk about it some more. Oh my god.
Maybe we'll play it back, and there will just be like an entity just like cartoon malleting it out of our heads.
All right. Well, that was a really interesting segment that we did, and it suddenly ended. We don't know why.
Okay, wait. Constellations, Sagittarius moving through.
We were talking about God being man, which makes me think of Christianity and like the homoousios, the substance of God in man. God made man. That's what Jesus was. Happy Easter, everyone. Yeah.
Jesus was a fucking magician, and that shit
That's right.
got whapped from the butt of humanity.
That's true.
That's the excerpt I got from Damien Eccles' book.
I took a course in college, my major, religious studies. I took History of Christianity Part 1 and 2, and definitely in Part 1, my professor showed us depictions of Jesus with a wand.
He was a fucking magician, and Damien Eccles talks about that all the time, and how there's a segment he was talking about where 12 boys were sent to go study with the ancient Sumerians to learn proper magic. And this is my only roundtable bit. Okay.
Hit it.
When Emperor Constantine...
We still need to finish it! We still need to finish Constantine!
Gutted the Bible, nearly 50 books were either removed entirely or substantially edited. Much of the material was attributed to Christ himself, most notably instructions given to his students on how to shape reality. For example, we still read, "Ask and it shall be given to you," in Matthew 7:7. But what's been removed are the instructions on how to ask. The scientist and religious scholar Greg Braden says that the original source reads, "All things you ask straightly and directly from inside my name you shall be given. So far you have not done this. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full."
That's a pretty cool passage.
Furthermore, Braden asserts that without hidden motive is better translated as without judgment, not labeling things with the egoic labels of good and bad. In other words, when we ask, we should do so from the perspective of the higher self if we want to manifest something within the divine matrix. Therefore, we must use language of the matrix, which is consciousness translated through the electromagnetic fields generated by our heart and mind. In short, the language of the quantum field is energy itself. Christ taught that one should act as if what has been requested has already been granted. By doing so, the electromagnetic field of the heart sends a signal to the quantum field, which will then manifest the prayer on the physical plane. We do the same thing with our mind by visualizing what we want to manifest. The brain's electromagnetic field of the heart sends a signal to the quantum field, which will then manifest the prayer on the physical plane. We do the same thing visualizing what we want to manifest. The brain's electromagnetic field then sends that signal to the divine matrix.
I think that makes so much sense because when you're asking from your higher self, I don't think that you would ask for frivolous things.
I want a
I want
Louis
a boat.
Vuitton butt plug.
I want a diamond encrusted toothpick.
Lampshade. A toothpick.
Like it's not about obtaining material things. It's like, I don't know. I want to find my happiness. I want to find my joy. And you like envision it. I do think there's really something to visualization. And that's like the basis of magic, right?
I feel like I should
Visualizing.
just get Davis. I should visualize Davis right here. Visualizing.
Let's grab
Pause.
D. Come
You
on.
big hunk of hot fur.
I know. You must be hot. He's not
You don't
too
want
bad.
to bake in the sun? Are you sure?
He's not too bad. So, lo and behold, we were visualizing a dog,
And he suddenly
and
appeared.
he appeared.
He's got a boner.
Oh, go do something with it.
Gotta take care of yourself.
We're not in charge of that. Okay. Thank you so much. Visualization. I definitely think that's a huge part of why my life is so good. And like I have the things that I want.
You're
And
able to visualize them
because
and they
I
happen?
have a very strong and active imagination. And
Yes.
I'm constantly thinking of the new ways I want to explore and create and imagine. So it's no surprise that I can just achieve the things that I wish to achieve. How has that worked for you? Do you feel like you've been able to obtain the things that you've wanted in your heart of hearts?
Yes, I struggle with clarity, and every time I talk to somebody who's a channeler, my aunt, the person I'm working with now, they are specifically told that I'm not allowed to know more. It's the same thing whenever I work with tarot. I'm not like a big tarot person, or I don't really understand it because it always just tells me what I already know, and I'm like, cool, thanks.
Like a confirmation of what you already suspected?
Yes, because I feel like whatever it is, the clarity issue that I'm working through is part of my karmic spiel. So I'm just in the middle of that.
It's
But I can visualize like a motherfucker.
funny that you say that you are seeking clarity because I feel like your vision is so strong.
And there's that garlic knot again.
I feel like you have it already. You just need to like be unblinded to
Well,
it.
the issue is I know where I want to go. I cannot visualize between here and there.
Okay. Well, that makes
Or
sense.
actually, I can now that I think about it, but parts of me are missing in those decisions where I'm like, but I should still, if I quit that, or, then that's where I go. And so I gotta like
fear is the mind killer.
scrub. Yeah, it's not even fear. It's like weird feminine, like, well, I'll keep helping. I'll help them and I'll help this. And, because I'm being tantalized with like really awesome opportunities.
So that's interesting. Do you think femme is sort of like submissive?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
That's why we don't run the world. We're
Do-
not naturally, well, you can't be as a mother. You have to be submissive.
Right. Well, I've been watching Winning Time with John C. The story of the rise of the Lakers dynasty. And it's interesting how much philosophy is involved in basketball.
Dude, well, basketball, the fucking Michael Jordan thing I crushed in like 10 minutes. I watched that whole
The
thing.
Last Dance. Yeah, so incredible what our bodies are capable of when you're determined. His determination is unmatched.
Well, his parents too. I mean, like you also, like when you've got parents who are there to make sure you get to where you're going, I mean, that's everything.
But it's incredible just to see what a human being is capable of when they are laser focused and have all of the support bits.
Yes.
But in, let's see, I wanted to talk about, so there's a lot about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Winning Time because he was on the Lakers team with Magic. And his journey...
There's that M word.
In Islam... it briefly talks about how he started practicing and what Islam means, and it means submitting to God, submitting your will to the divine. So I think that when we think about the feminine mystique or the feminine essence or whatever, I don't think submission is a bad thing.
No.
I think that it's like water. Like, that's another thing that they talk about a lot in the Phil Jackson book that I'm reading. And also, like, there's the Tao of basketball. It's like being the water that fills the cup. And I think that that is a lot about submission, too. But there's strength there and flexibility and adaptability.
Oh, my God, yes. And I think when I'm thinking of, like, I need to help this and I need to help them and I should stay here and do this, I think that's water being absorbed in a cloth, and that's not really like a glass, you know, or they are just different glasses, but I'm not like realizing where my water's going or being totally aware, you know. Mm-hmm. So there is a ton of power in submission, I think, too, and a lot of inherent willpower and strength.
You strong. You strong as a bitch.
Is a big bitch.
As a big old bitch.
Burps.
Where's our burp mic?
Dude, we should get like a really fucking fancy mic for burps. and just blast it with like really cool effects. An 8-bit burp.
We should make our own Foley sounds and intersplice them into our videos.
What fucking bits, mate, did you bring to the round table?
Oh, I was so jazzed and chuffed and touched and tickled when you shared with me that you had danced and that it had unlocked something within your spirit. And I just wanted to ask you what that was like and just give me everything.
I'm just going to speak with full disclosure regardless of who's listening, but it's like, so between working at a motorcycle show and not knowing if that was like really my jam, and then going to MotoGP and not really knowing if that's what I wanted or should be doing, and then spending all weekend away from my homestead that just like suffered immensely because I wasn't here and my husband was just tending to Ruby. I felt so much fucking friction because I was like, God, I should just fucking let loose and do this. But there's a big part of me that's mad. This is not what I want right now. And I'm not being... It's one thing if it's like, hey, we're working towards this goal. You're a part of this. Let's go. It's not just like a shit show. And most other people's projects are just all over the place and they're chaotic. And I just like don't want to do that. So I came home feeling really gritty in my gears, in my brain's gears. And I went to therapy, and Elizabeth kind of like obviously helped work all that out to as best as she could. But I came home and Ruby was like doing this weird little galloping dance that she was doing around the kitchen. And I just like fucking let loose with her. And we were just like dancing hard. And I could just feel, especially in my shoulders, I don't know if that's where I was holding it, but just like this movement was like getting those gears moving again. And it was like, and I could feel suddenly like a bunch of energy up and down my spine and then I set an intention, like, help me see better. Like, help me, I hate being spread so thin in this strange way. I want to focus my laser beam. So in doing it, we did that for not very long, however long a toddler wants to dance for, 5-10 minutes. And I felt energized and exhausted. I felt like all these different things at once. It was lively.
Amazing. That is so awesome.
But I was like,
you let go in that moment.
Yeah. And I remember walking once in Northeast Minneapolis and I felt really fucking weird. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And Lucas was like, dude, do you feel that? And we were both like, we couldn't tell if we were about to get attacked with like a nuclear warhead or something.
Whoa.
We turned the corner and there was a fucking Native American parade, but you couldn't hear it, which was so weird.
You just felt it.
We felt it. We turned the corner and there were like 100 people in full Native American garb dancing down the road. And they're tapped in. They're doing that. That's like the dance. You know, there doesn't have to be loud music or this ceremony. It's like everybody puts on what they want to put on and they fucking...
I also think there's great potential of power potential when people do things together.
Yes. Yes.
It just ramps up the energy and the capabilities, you know?
During the pandemic, there was a group of like 50 moms in the UK, like in some city, who met up at a park, like a soccer field, and screamed.
Oh, shit.
And I was like...
Group scream.
Whoa, what's being released? If a bunch of moms who were stuck in the pandemic in a house with whatever were just like meeting somewhere and then just screaming.
That is so powerful. I feel like I'm a little tender from Pippin going, but I feel like this is really, you know, just thinking about what we're capable of.
Yeah.
As just like living beings. It's so inspirational to
Yeah.
think about what we can do.
So what we're trying to say is, if something's going on, just fucking dance.
Yeah,
Like,
dance, scream, get it out. I know that that the screaming story of all the people meeting up and screaming together, it made me think of, I'm reading this book right now called Breasts and Eggs by Mieko Kawakami, and there's this scene where this lady is just like silent all the time, never speaks anything outwards, but she like, I think it's her grandmother Komi, and they're like under a bridge somewhere and this loud heavy train or some big truck passes and she's like holding the young hand of Natsuko, and when all of that sound is happening, that really loud din, the grandma just like cuts loose and screams at the top of her lungs. She like matches the sound of the environment, and that was such a powerful image to me. Like these people who carry the burden of taking care of everyone and who are always quiet and submissive, just like letting it out finally. And I don't know, that was a really powerful image to me.
it's like we're circling back to our power, and I think everyone is on a bigger level. Like everyone's tired of different shit, and everyone is, I don't know. We're not going to be operating in this update or version, rather, this system version much longer, I don't think.
I'm so bad at doing updates.
I know I don't update anything. Oh, because it ruins everything. With Apple's shit, it just ruins everything.
Right. I try and stay up to date on Chrome, I guess. I don't know. I'm doing my best, as always. But to go back to your dancing bit, I feel so much better when I just listen to how my body wants to move. And I listen to music all the time, especially now that I have my earbuds.
Yes.
And I'm just on the move, and I feel like it helps me relax. And when I feel relaxed, that's when I feel like my creative portal is open. Just started doing this thing this morning called morning pages, where you just write down 3 pages when you wake up, like whatever it is. You just have to write it out. And it's supposed to like relax you and open you up so that you can create and like so that ideas can kind of take form and you can move on them. And I thought that was a really cool thing, just a practice to do.
That reminds me of when I was in high school, I was in the writing magnet, and we had to write for 2.5 hours straight. And then we had to read it in front of everybody. She would
Like stream of consciousness?
Yeah, she would very rarely let you not read it in front of everybody.
If you wrote for 2.5 hours, if you read that out loud.
You had to read, well, you had to read like at least a part of it. You didn't read,
okay.
you have to
Like
read
you
the
pick
whole
your
thing.
favorite
Yeah.
part, kind of. Like, that's a long-ass class. Lanye!
Sweet baby.
Sweet baby. What's her mom's name? Belinda?
Willinda.
Woolinda? How far along is she in her pregnancy?
She is due in July. Ooh. She's right around the
She's
corner.
gonna be a sweaty mama.
Ooh, I know. I saw some pregnant ladies today at HEB, and I was like, ooh.
Ooh. Oh. Ellen's baby is a week old.
Holiday. I'm going to steal the hell. You're going to have 2 nieces named Holiday.
That's fine with me. I'd love that. I also love my friend Hillary's baby's name, Lemon. Such a good name for a person. And my desert island fruit.
Lemon.
What's your desert island fruit? If we're going to hit on desert island bits every episode.
Peanut butter.
That ain't no
Lucas,
fruit.
Lucas said he would, his desert island appliance was a waffle maker. And I'm like, dude, there's no wheat. There's no wheat on a waffle.
Honey, what are you going to put in that waffle?
He said he'd make a fish waffle. And I was like, yuck, dude.
It's like a George Foreman grill, but with different grates, I guess. Well, Lucas, if you don't have an outlet to plug it into, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Oh, he had a question for you.
Lucas?
Yeah, what's your favorite barbecue sauce? And why?
Hey. Well, I want to say Sweet Baby Ray's. Honey, I think it's honey barbecue. But the problem is, I think I mentioned this before another time or in some way. I don't eat chicken anymore. And
But that
so
was your preferred dip.
that was my
dip.
conveyance,
Okay.
my main conveyance of barbecue sauce. I also love like barbecue beans, but I feel like it's just a different experience altogether. Definitely Sweet Baby Ray's. What would you say, KC Masterpiece?
Was that a fucking
Stubbs?
was that a fucking diss? Did you just barbecue diss me? I'm a big I don't like sweet sauces. I don't like sweet in my sauce. Oh no, crying baby. I've had a few coffee barbecue sauces where it's like a little bitter and tangy.
You love a smoky joint.
I do like smoky shit.
I think sweet can be the best thing of all time if you balance it with spicy and salty.
If it's salty enough, I'll
yeah.
fuck with it. I fuck with it
Because
hard.
I was thinking about the menu for our Let's Eat Austin
Spring
dinner.
Flingus?
Well, Spring Flingus is already planned out and doing it, but we want to promote our first like ticketed dinner event at Spring Flingus.
I didn't know that.
May 28th. We want to have like a sit-down dinner in the backyard for like 12 to 15 people. And I was working on the menu late last night, and it was cool because I only have like a bed and a desk with a chair in my apartment.
Your fucking curtain fell down.
Oh yeah, my curtain fell down, but I nailed it back up. I put in nails in all different directions so it would
It'll
be
stay
structurally
forever.
sound. But I like moved my pillows up and stacked them in such a way so that I could sit on the edge of my bed as if it was a couch. And I kind of just pretended like I was in my little workspace, and I was just, like watching Bob's Burgers on very low volume and like doing menu bits. But I was thinking like a sticky, sweet, smoked pork something cherries thing would be
Like
good for an entree.
Sam?
Perhaps. Oh, yeah, maybe. Is that always belly?
No. I use
It's
shoulder.
like shoulder?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, that is. And it's weird for me to come up with like a pork dish because I've been veggie.
No. You've got panache for all foods.
Absolutely. And it's such a bummer that, meat is created the way that it is and it like wrecks the environment. It's like bad for the animal. It's just like bad because it's the most delicious thing that you can put in your mouth.
I ain't getting off that train in a long
the things
time.
coming off a pig. That is so good. But I'm veggie. I'll taste to make sure it tastes good when I feed it to you, but I'm good. I'll eat beans. It's fine. I like having farts on deck. No, I'm good with beans. Don't worry about me. I'll just eat No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I don't know. Maybe I'll befriend a pig and it'll grant me 3 wishes and then something, and then I'll eat meat again.
And then you'll ask to turn into a pig.
And that will make me want to eat meat.
That'll make you...
I'll be like closer to nature and like understand its cycles and all of the food webs and everybody being in everybody's business. And be like, oh, it's just part of the way things are.
Exactly.
Sometimes I get it. Sometimes.
We had another question.
Oh, yeah. From our friend Birdo. So it goes along with our dance bit. He was wondering what our favorite music is. Kind of generally.
I was thinking about you last night again in relation to music. Thanks, Berto, for the question. In this creative exercise of just pumping out content and trying not to worry about what I'm doing and just having fun, I'm reviving the essence of my dad and the essence of my teenage self by like tapping back into punk rock.
I've been hearing those songs you've been choosing.
And I have his music from his band in the early 80s, so that's copyright free. So that's why I've been using it.
Oh, nice. What was his band called?
Iron Fist. I don't know. He used to like tour with the Circle Jerks, and he played with at CBGB. He was
cool.
He was like the 80s punk rock. What's it called when somebody archetype? Wow. Type of art. And when I was a teenager, it was so easy for me to dive into. He gave me all of his Minor Threat records and his Bad Religion vinyl, and so it's easy for me to just dive back in. And I haven't listened to that genre in fucking forever.
Do you like Fugazi?
Fugazi has been circling my reality, and I have to listen to Fugazi. I've only ever really truly given Minor Threat a listen. Mm-hmm. I was big in metal, went through a big metal phase, went through a big hip hop. Like that's all. I mean, there's so much good creative shit happening right now.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah, well, he hasn't made music in a while, but like Tyler the Creator, like the weirder stuff that people are doing.
I loved his Igor persona.
It's just so good. Lots of good shit happening there. But then this is the part I was thinking about. I get stuck in the genre fucking dopamine milking gland parts where I can't get out of that genre, even though there's music in every genre I really like. I like exotica, there's jazz I like, there's like Ethiopian jazz, like nothing hits like that.
Yeah.
But since I was a bartender for so fucking long, that's work music.
Oh yeah.
So I don't ever listen to it at home. I'm trying to like get that old My Chemical Romance record, or just like something that's what's it called, like not a private pleasure, guilty pleasure. Oh, okay, I'm at home, this is my sacred opportunity. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I listen to the shit that I played at work? Or King Cruel like was playing at the coffee shop the other day. I was like, I haven't fucking heard King Cruel in forever.
I mean, that's what makes music so fun.
Yes.
Is that there's just so much out there to experience because it affects your mood and it makes you think in different ways depending on what you're listening to. I find that when I want to delve into my guilty pleasures, I'm putting System of a Down on, because in
new
high
metal?
school,
Oh,
it was
shit.
all about System of a Down. So I go back to that time in my life.
Limp Biscuit.
And sometimes I'll listen to just Vince Staples for a long time and get in that mindset. But recently I've been doing a lot of Courtney Barnett, but also revisiting St. Vincent and I don't know. You just have to go with whatever you fucking want to hear. Sometimes all I listen to is Grimes. I'll just wake up in the morning, I'll just put on Miss Anthropocene, and that's all I'll listen to for 3 days. But you'll get out of that. You don't have to force yourself out of it.
I feel like I kind of do because I just keep going back to the same shit.
But don't you find you'll want something else eventually?
Yes. And I get mad though because I'll try a different record.
Uh-huh.
Like an Anderson .Paak record or something, and then I'm like, I don't like this song. I don't like this song. And then I'm not really giving it a chance, and that's so stupid.
Oh, did you listen to Silk Sonic? Him and Bruno Mars? There's a couple of good ones on there.
I will pay you to make me a little jump out of your rut playlist.
I would be honored.
And you
there's
know what
a lot.
I like.
There's a lot to
because otherwise
share.
I'm gonna keep going back to fucking Limp Bizkit's greatest hits and.
Where is your boy tonight, I hope? Did you listen to Fall Out Boy?
I did. Going back to it now, Ruby won't listen. Ruby will not have it. She doesn't want to hear it.
That's interesting. What is that, D? I mean, Mo?
No. I've never heard that kind of bark.
D-Mo?
Davis seems unfazed or unbothered by it, so.
That's a weird bark, man. That's a weird bark.
Hawk, what is that bark?
Oh, but I'm really into Kurt Weill's new stuff.
It's Tiger.
I could listen to anything by Kurt Weill.
I don't know who that is.
He's just so his attitude about life is something that comes out in his music, and it's very soothing. It's just
Kurt Weill.
I saw him play at the Mohawk. The first South by that I attended in 2014. I think maybe 2015, I don't remember. But it was cool. I met this Australian dude named Damien at the show, and we kissed on top of a parking garage. It was just cool,
That's some South by shit.
Some South by shit.
I remember getting VIP wristbands for free at South by and getting drunker than fuck in
on the vodka bus?
No, in a geodesic Scotch dome. Glenfiddich had a fucking an iridescent geodesic air conditioned dome.
It's South by.
No
It's
one
South by.
was fucking in there. And they're just cocktails for miles, and they were just feeding them to me, and it was hot, so I was dehydrated.
Oh shit!
I
You're
give me more scotch. Yes, I was just drinking scotch like it was fucking water.
Wait, so
I remember.
I have a question about
tossing my
Scotch
cookies.
cocktails. Why would you make a Scotch cocktail?
Because you like that smoky flavor.
So you would use a PD, a Lefroy kind of. Because
Not
I always
that
thought
smoky,
that
no.
if you're drinking Scotch, you're drinking 12-year, 15-year, you don't want to change that.
I would be charged for heinous bartender crimes because I would do shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And other bartenders are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
Yeah, there's
I'm
almost
making a
sacred.
Yamazaki 18 and Coke for this rich motherfucker over here, and I don't give a fuck because
That's
it will probably
decadence.
taste good.
That's opulence,
Oh yeah, I would put fancy shit in some shitty shit all the time.
I
because
love it. It's like your
good.
Funyun martini.
I have sold $50, $60 Manhattans. People think it's so sacrilegious. And I'm like, oh, who wrote the fucking rule book? Your mom? I was like, shut up.
Throw that shit out the window.
But, bartending's a cult, and, you got to do what other the cult people are doing, so.
She separated herself from that cult. She's operating from a different space. Thank you very much. She's doing her own thing. Ever heard of it?
Top bartenders of Austin the year I moved here. I was so bummed.
Why?
Because I came down here to learn.
Oh, and nobody has a dick as big as you?
They were like, you're the best. And I was like, oh, shit. Because Austin was still...
Do you think
it
if you
didn't
moved to
explode.
LA or New York that you could learn?
Yeah.
If you were still into that cocktail.
Probably not LA, but definitely New York.
Probably not LA.
No.
Nope.
They're not doing anything different out there.
Do the ideas kind of travel from coast to coast, like starting on the east and then making their way out there?
From what I can tell, a lot of the cocktail trends originate in Singapore and London. And they spread from there.
Singapore?
London has their finger on the fucking pulse when it comes to doing different cocktail stuff. And Singapore has a lot of money. So they're just like... land of the fancy hotels, and that's what
Is
births
Singapore a
bartenders.
surveillance state?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I heard someone say it once.
And then that was it.
Does that mean like all of its citizens are
Let's see if this
under
has Safari.
surveillance? When I think of Singapore, I think it's a surveillance state, and I'm like, wait, why did you say that? Where'd you get that idea, little lady? Are you Googling it?
I'm gonna Google it on this archaic.
That looked like a
All right,
iPod shuffle.
It's a big iPod shuffle.
What was on your mix? Did you have an iPod shuffle when you were little?
Nope.
Did you have a CD player?
I had those hit clips. Yeah, I had a CD player. Remember, you used to like shit would get scratched and bumped. And
No, yeah, I remember riding my bike in the neighborhood and like holding my CD player in one hand so it wouldn't skip, and like listening to Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, and just like.
Okay, Singapore is a known city of sensors. Singapore's surveillance structure spreads widely from a closed circuit television in public areas, even around the neighborhood, internet monitoring, traffic monitoring, and to the use of the surveillance metadata for government initiatives.
Government initiatives.
Singapore's tech utopia dream is turning into a surveillance state nightmare.
Tech utopia dream turned to surveillance state nightmare.
That sounds like just a natural progression of
It sounds like they got there
instances.
first, maybe, but we're all on that track.
Yeah, I don't... What is privacy? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like with all the data that we create with every one of our actions.
I was getting off my motorcycle from a vlog and I said, Lucas, I just had this like creative like little blast. I'll just say shit that would be funny for a reel on the way home because you got to keep the camera rolling.
Right.
Then I could just use those bits. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I go on Instagram. Instagram is like, do you need help marking where you say something that you want to spread on other social platforms? It was like, oh, well, this is the end. It had
it's
just said...
we're talking to microphones all the time.
Yeah, they can hear me right now.
Somebody's always listening. I don't know why they care so much about what other people are getting up to.
I don't think they do.
It's all about money, dude. They just want to market to us. They want specific targeted marketing. It's like the Blade Runner thing. In the future, you're just walking and ads just like pop up out of the ground. They're like, hey, you're actually out of chicken at home. You might want to stop and grab some chicken because you have an app that like governs your fridge bits and like
there's a
suggests
sensor
recipes.
that smelled you.
Oh, yeah.
I have a theory.
It's deep. Please present your theory for the council.
The psychedelic renaissance is going to fucking squash that dystopian future. The psychedelic renaissance is happening. I read about it all the fucking time. And it will be a threat to what we think is like the Wall-E, fat people in fat people chairs buying fat people stuff all the time and not doing anything else. I was like, I think it's going to come to an end. Ooh, that let me
Because
do another
people
thought,
will
but-
realize that they can unplug.
Yeah.
Can we reiterate what you just said? Hold on to the thought you have next. The psychedelic revolution. Is that what you're going to say? Or is that what you said?
What will remind me is Ruby's generation.
Yeah.
So I'm holding on to that. You told me to hold on to it.
Oh shit!
Because
Just go
you were
for it. Just go
okay.
for it, because we can. It'll be on there.
I think about our political system and how fucked everything kind of is. And I will say this, America is really great. You do have freedom of speech. You have freedom of religion. Most people have cars and apartments. Like a lot. That's a lot more than a lot of other countries. But there is still so much shit that's wrong and tied up in bureaucracy. And I was like, I thought last night, the moment the last fucking scab of like boomer congressman dies in hospice, as in their tax-free everything where all their kids went to school, as they die, finally, the last one, everything will come tumbling fucking down, because there's no way Ruby's generation is going to be like, oh, just tie up trillions of dollars of taxpayers' money into nothing, and like, you know, none of it ever gets back to anybody, and you just have to be forced to pay this forever. That's done. That's fucking done. People are tired of that already.
Yeah.
And so once new people have to start moving into those positions, when all of those fucking archaic dinosaur people are dead,
Please move
The
on.
earth
Let
will-
us live. Let us control the world.
the earth will quake. When I think about this, I get so mad about cement.
Who are you envisioning when you envision the people on Congress that you want to pass away?
There's
'Cause
just-
I'm thinking of one specific person.
There's a lot of dinosaurs. I think our president's a dinosaur. We don't let old people drive, but we let them run everything else, and they don't know what day it is, and they don't know what time it is, and they're so out
You've
of
got
touch.
teams to do that for them.
Right, they're just puppets, and it's
They
always
have the
been just
power of
puppets.
appointment, but that's all.
So I think there's this crusty flake of antiquity that's gonna fly off and just poof into dust, and it's fucking game over after that.
Well, it's a very long game.
It's so long. Well, they make it long on purpose.
Right. That's how it was designed.
Yes.
So that you can't do anything rash. Sometimes rash action is what's needed.
Yes, I don't believe in
Not in the form of a January 6th type. I'm not condoning that at all.
I don't believe in life-term anythings.
Yeah.
Life-term anythings is not a good look on anyone, I don't think. I'm sure there's something wrong with not having that in the Supreme Court justice realm, but
I don't know. I feel like I'm so disillusioned about the efficacy of my own voice in those realms, you know? Like, what could I really change? Everything's so much bigger than...
well, and it's so hard to convince someone like, you care about the environment. Why didn't you go work in environmental policy?
Ugh.
And that's the same thing with Erica. Erica is extremely politically literate and pays attention to a lot of that stuff, and no one her age does. And I was like, why didn't you go into politics? Same reaction.
It's yucky.
Yuck. That's gross. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, that's why we're at where we're at, because no one wants to fucking work for them. And then, you know, it's just easier to point fingers and speak up versus like actually get in there and do the work.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Definitely the world of politics seems like it's very like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But
Forever.
it seems like that could be the case for a lot of industries. Like the connections that you have.
It's all that. How is lobbying legal?
Hi, babe. You
got
got
her
a
pajamas
pop?
on? How long was that? 20 minutes? Oh.
An hour and a half.
Wait!
Did we go over?
Shit. Oh, shit.
Wooby.
Oh, no. We lost the video portion. But we didn't lose the audio portion. That's all that matters.
We lost all the vid.
I don't know. It's not up anymore.
Hi, Ruby.
We may have lost all of it. It is.
It's pretty hot.
Oh yeah, I gotta, there's a warning sign. Your iPhone is too hot.
Oh.
Oh, so we were diving into politics, and now we must say goodbye.
What flavor is that pop?
Pink strawberry red heart pop.
Well, I feel like today's discussion was just fantastic, for lack of a better word. It was all over the place, but it was very concentrated at the same time.
Ruby, get your hot dog body off of me.
Hot dog. Whitney, thank you for sharing your time and space with me.
It goes by so quick, listeners. I don't need your pop. Murphy doesn't need your pop. Do you not want it anymore?
It's too heavy. She doesn't want to hold it. Oh no.
And in the flash of a moment, don't drop your life's popsicle onto the fucking dirty ground of the garage. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that our visuals are not there, but we're here in your brain. Maybe you're going to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Ruby, you want to say something on the mic? Can you say, hi, Hannah? Oh.
Ah. Okay, blessings abound.
Sit on a shoe, Ruby.
The Buddha in me recognizes the Buddha in you.